Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me? Good evening, everyone. Can we hear me? I'm hoping we can hear me. How are we doing? Sorry about the delay. We were trying to sort out some issues, but I'm happy it's sorted out now and we can start. So today we would be talking about micro interactions, but before we talk about that, we would go back to our last topic, which was on design patterns, because I realized that during the practical, we had network issues and most of us could not get most of what I was saying. And I'm sincerely sorry about that. Network happens sometimes. So we'll just be doing little bits of, anyways, last week's topic, or sorry, Tuesday's topic, our last class, is also somehow interwoven into today's topic. So we will see how to merge all of these things together as we go ahead. Now let's just go to Figma. If you're on Figma on your laptop, that's very good so that you can practice alongside. But I would also indulge you to pay rapt attention to what I'm doing such that when you are now going back to redo yours, you would you'd be able to do it seamlessly. And I'm going to start from like very, very simple micro interactions, like your toggle. Remember that if you're on your phone, maybe on your settings, you've probably seen a toggle that goes off and on. You've probably seen a toggle that goes off and on. I'll just start by designing a very small toggle, and then you would see the micro interaction that that toggle can give. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to get maybe my circle. So I'm going to my shape tools and I'm getting an ellipse. My ellipse is coming in about 20 by 20 pixels. So if it's coming in 28 pixels, I'll just adjust it back to 20. First thing I want to do is lock aspect ratio because I see that my width and my height are the same. If my width and my height are not the same, I will not lock aspect ratio because I want to generate a perfect circle. So if my width and my height are not the same, that's this width and this height, if they are not the same numbers, I will not be locking the aspect ratio. But since they are the same, I can lock aspect ratio and then I can make this 20 pixels. Right now on my designs, most of my numberings are coming in pixels format here. So just pixel, just think of px. Now this is 20 pixels. Now this design might look big, but in any other fact, look at it, I've zoomed out and you can see how tiny the circle is. So if you are thinking that I'm zoomed out and then I'm creating a very big circle, what I've just designed is because I'm zoomed in. If you look at my zooming ratio now, I'm using the right now I'm on 224% zoom. So that means I'm really zoomed in. If I'm on 100% zoom, you would notice that it is small and then you feel that, oh, maybe I'm not getting something. But then because I'm zoomed in, that is why you can see that this circle really looks big. But in actual sense, it's not so big. Yeah. We can even change this to 16 pixels. We can change this to 16 pixels, maybe because we want to generate a smaller kind of circle for our toggle. Now I just want to confirm if we can still hear me. Can we hear me? I see Mercy is saying she cannot hear anything. Can we hear me now? No, you cannot see me, yes, but I'm certain you should be able to hear me. So please confirm if you can hear me clearly. Confirm if you can hear me clearly. Confirm if you can hear me clearly. I need one or two people to confirm that they can hear me clearly and then I would go. All right, great. So thank you very much. Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Now we have zoomed in. This is 224 pixels. That's 224% zoom. And this is 16 pixels. Now, with what I've done here, which is 16 pixels, it is not compulsory that your toggle must be 16 pixels in circle, yeah? I'm just designing this so that we can see how micro interactions would work, or how you want to create a component and how that component would work. So I've created my circle. Then the next thing I want to do is I want to put it in a frame. Now I can either create my frame normally, or I can auto layout it by just using right clicking and then going to add auto layout, or I'll use the short keyboard shortcut and then I would say shift A. So I either use shift A or I right click and then I add auto layouts. Yeah. So let me just do that. So I'll just add auto layouts here. And you see that by bringing in auto layout, you are seeing the top here says frame 1. Of course, I can rename this to toggle by double clicking on that frame 1 and then changing it to toggle. So I've changed it to toggle, but we are not there yet because this does not look like a toggle, yeah? Now, the next thing I want to do is I want to adjust the padding. This spacing inside this container is called padding. The spacing inside the container is called padding. So what I want to do now is I want to come to my auto layout section. I'm coming to my auto layout section. If you had followed my cursor, you would see that I'm coming to this place, my property panel on the right hand side. I always have a problem with right or left if you've noticed that. So on the right hand side that says auto layout here. Now I'm coming to this point. Me being in this auto layout panel, I want to adjust the padding. This is where you will get the padding, this lower part of the auto layout property panel. And we have the horizontal padding and we have the vertical padding. This is called the horizontal padding, and you can see the blue lines. You can see where the blue line is identifying. That is the horizontal padding. And by the time I come to the vertical padding, you can see where the blue line is also marking. That is the vertical padding. So let me adjust the horizontal padding to just be let's say 2 pixels, because I don't want something heavy, and also my vertical padding to be 2 pixels. But of course, it's not looking like a toggle yet. So what I would just do is I would increase the width. Normally, I would just increase the width to, let's say, 32 first. If this is not good enough for 32, maybe because it's still looking small, I can increase it to 36 or to 40, anyone that works well for you. But I'm thinking 36 will do. Now I've created this. So my width is in 36, my height is in 20. And what I just want to do next is I want to give this container now, I want to give this container a fill color. So I'm going to my fill color, clicking on my fill color, and the moment I clicked on it, a white color came in. Yeah, that's beautiful. But if you show me this as a toggle, that is a wrong mark. So what do? I've clicked on toggle, and then I come to the place where I want to round the edges. Now, how do I round or corner the edges? I'll come to this appearance, the appearance property, and then I'll come to corner radius right here, corner radius right here, and then I can increase it until I feel it is rounded enough, until I feel this is good enough. I'll just click on it until I feel that it is rounded enough, and then I want to probably smoothen the roundness to give it this very aesthetic feel. Now that I've done this, you see that this looks familiar as a toggle, yeah? Let me see if we are following me. So this looks familiar as a toggle. This looks familiar as a toggle. Now that I've done this, very simple. The next thing I want to do is to create the opposite side of the toggle. But before then, I want to change this to a component because we created a component last time, but we did not. I see somebody asking me a question on the padding. I just used 2 pixels. Whatever works for you to make sure that your toggle looks good and looks realistic. At the end of the day, what you are trying to aim at is a realistic design, not a design that people would say, is it a carpenter that designed this? You understand? So you just want to look at a realistic toggle design. Now that I've done this, I said I want to create a component. So how do I turn this into a component? I'll just come to my frame section here, still my property panel, but where is written frame? I'll come here, and then I said this place is called mark as ready for development, but don't click on that. The next icon that is called create components, that is where you are coming to. So you just click on what? Create components. The moment I clicked on create component, look at this, I have created a component, but I want another type of this component. Now, what do I do? Instead of creating another component, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a variant of this type of components. Now, what do I mean by that? There's something called the parent-child relationship in design. And when you are dealing with the parent-child relationship, you are looking at the mother-to-child syndrome or the parent-to-child syndrome. So this is the main body, or this is the let's call it the main body. This is the main body of this component. With this particular element now, you should be able to do lots of things with just this element. Maybe toggle on, toggle off, maybe change the color, maybe do another thing, you understand? But you should be able to do lots of things with just this singular component that you have created. You should be able to have more branches. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. You should be able to have more branches from this one. Now, how do you have more branches? How do you create a set? I don't know. Some of us may have bought a cup before. After you bought the cup, you would have seen that there are probably 6 types of identical cups, maybe identical in design, but different in colors. So those are variants of that type of cup. Now, let's do the variant of this particular toggle. Now, this is a toggle, but we can call it a toggle off. Now, let's create a variant. If we want to create a variant, we'll just come to the place we came to before to create components. But this time around, creating a component has disappeared. What is there now is what? Add variant. Add variant. Now, you click on add variant, and you see what has happened. Now you see that a set, the same type of elements, like it's duplicated here, but with this one now you can create another style for this design. Now, how do I go about it? Because I used a frame, or because I used auto layout, is better for me. It's very, very simple for me. Look at what I'm just going to do here. I don't need to stress myself at all in this design because I used auto layout. Now, because I used auto layout, I will not drag this, because even if I drag it, it will not drag. Can you see that? No matter how much I drag this, it will not drag because I used auto layout. What do I do with this? I will just click on this element or this auto layout or this frame, and then I will come to my auto layout property panel again. And this time around, I will change the position from align left to align right. Now you see that automatically it moved to the right. Yeah. So let me do that again. It was in the left before. So what I just did was move from the position align left to where? Align right. Now you see that your toggle has moved from left to right. Now, very, very simple, very demure, very classy. You can decide that you want to change the color of your design. So let's say you want to change the color. If you already have like a color, you can decide to give it the green color. But if you don't have, you can of course use your colors to maybe go to a particular green or a particular blue or something that you've been looking into, and just change that color to it. So let's pick this teal color. This color, this is not way into our eyes here. So this is just nice. And then I can even change this circle from this D9 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 hex hexadecimal number that it is to maybe a brighter shade of white, so that it really looks like there is this turned on glow kind of thing there. Now we're not even done yet. Let's even give it a brighter shadow here. Let's just give it let's design this to actually look good. So let's go to our effects and let's give it a blur, but this time a glowy kind of blur. So let's say FFF, but 25%, and let's say Y in 2, but let's increase the blur so that it will have some kind of bright feel. Yeah, some kind of bright blur at the back. Yes, that's good to go. This is good to go. Let's make it 8. Let's make it 8 to give it a glow. And then of course we are going to do the same thing to this, but let's give the effect, yes, a shadow but black. Let's reduce this to 2 as well. Let's give it a dark shadow, yeah, and then let's increase this so that we also have like the toned off feel. Let's make this 8. So we have the toned off feel. Let's even reduce this 22, the black 22 to maybe 16 so that it's not too dark. Now look at our shadow, look at our toggle. Our toggle has the turned off and turned on, but we are not there yet, because if you leave it like this, the best this can do is, let me get a frame. To get a frame, you can either click on F, or you can come to your frame in your lower section and then just pick a frame. So let me pick an iPhone 13 mini, bring it in. I'll just copy this and then I'll paste it here. Yeah, just paste it here. Let's paste it anywhere. Let's just paste it here and say, instead of just putting it here, let's maybe add a, oh, that means I have to even give this, instead of a white, let's just reduce this so that it would have a, yeah, perfect. But instead of even adjusting it from here, I would rather I adjust it from the component itself. So let's do this. Give me a minute. Let me change this back to default. Okay, give me a minute, please. Control C. All right. So let's do, oh, this is too dark. So of course, we would take it back. Let's do our adjustments from here so that whatever we do would affect this as well. Now, I'm going to pick a different color. Our D9, D9, D9 may still work, but let's give it this. And of course, let's change the toggle off to a darker film so that we have that off, that really turned off thing. Exactly. Now, the best that this toggle can do, as I said earlier, we can even give this particular toggle a shadow or even an outline. We can decide to give it an outline if that's what works best. But of course, this is too much. We can increase this to just give it a sort of, a sort of feel, but not too serious, but that kind of shadow, like the shadow of the Almighty. So let's say 0.5. Yeah, so that it's slim, it's not really noticeable, but you just know that something is there. Okay, great. Now, the best that this can do is that we can manually change it from default to variant 2. And of course, we can change this variant 2 to off or on. And then we can change this default to off. Enter. Now, the best we can do is change it from off to on, from on to off, from off to on, from on to off. That's the best we can do. But what if I want to present this to some stakeholders? How do I present this? I have to prototype it. So to prototype, I just go to my prototype here, and then I come back to my components, click on this, that's the turned off, and then move, drag it to the turned on, and say when I click, or I can decide to say when I drag. So if it is when you drag or when you click, whichever one works for you. If you want to use drag, you can say when I drag this, it should bring me here. Yeah. So you can say on drag. You can do that. So if you say on drag, when you drag, it brings you here. Then it can even, I think it should even ask you that where do you want to drag to, something of that sort. So let's see smart animate, and then let's see ease in and out, or let's see ease in, and then you can do the same for the other, that when you drag it should take you back here. Yeah, so you can say on drag change to smart animate, and let's say ease out. So now if I present this screen to maybe some stakeholders and I say, when I drag this, it takes me to the off. When I drag this, it brings me back. Can you see the way it's flowing because I am dragging it? So you can either use the drag or you can use the click. So you can, let's try the click. Let's say when I click, don't let's say when I drag. So let's say when I click, let's change this from drag to click, and then let's come back to this now and say when I click. So whichever one works for you. Now these are micro interactions, yeah. Now that we've tried this, let's try to, reload this, and then let's say, oh, sorry about that. This now is on click, yeah. So this is on click, and then it's just doing like a micro slow interaction because, of course, this is 2000 milliseconds. So if I make this a 600 milliseconds, it's going to be faster, of course. And then let's try this as well. 600 milliseconds. I think I should even make it faster than that, but let's still try what we are doing. So now this is faster than the 2000 milliseconds I did. I could even make it 300 milliseconds, whatever timing I want to give it. Now this is me clicking, not dragging. And these are little micro interactions. And you can see that glow effect that we gave it. Because of the glow effect we gave it, you see that it's somehow feeling like you are turning off the light and then you are turning on the lights, so that kind of thing. So that's a little micro interaction. um Okay, somebody is asking, why can't we duplicate instead of variant? Now, if you duplicate, you might just discover that instead of creating a variant, you have just created an instance of a particular design. So sometimes you may think that, oh, if I just duplicate now, this is good, but then sometimes we may fall into the mistake of, instead of duplicating into this components phase now that we are in, you may duplicate and get something like this out of your duplicate, something like this. And then you may think that, oh, you are still in the component, but then you have such issues. So it's actually safer to have created a variant, and then after creating the variant, you can now duplicate when you know that this place is safe for duplication. So we've done something simple, and I know that this one is well understood. Now let's change to buttons. Let's create a button. And the first thing you want to do is maybe to create your first button. Oh, sorry about that, I'm still in prototype. So we've created a toggle, yeah. That's great. Now you want to create a button. Now you just click on your text, you write your button. This is me writing my button. My button text is in 12 pixels, but I would like to increase it to 14 pixels just for readability. Now that it is there, I would like to also maybe like make it medium so that it's not too tiny for some kind of eyes, and then I'll give it an auto layout. I also want to see if I can change the line height to 24. All right, great. Now that I've done that, I would look at my auto layout property panel, and then I'll just increase the horizontal padding. I would increase the horizontal padding to attain more space so that we have like lots of space in my button. And by height, this is 8. If you look at the total height of my button, it is 40, which is very, very reasonable, which is like the least kind of height you should have for a good button. Now, from here, I may want to give it a fill color. So let's say I want to give it a fill color of, let's say, the same teal. Yes, the same teal color. Perfect. Now that I've given it this color, let's say I want to give it good corner radius. Yes. So let's give it good corner radius of let's see, good corner radius of just, let's make it 4 so that it's not like it's too serious a button. It's not like it's too playful a button, but at least it gives it some kind of serious but fun kind of thing. Or let's make it 8. Let's make it serious but fun. So let's make it, or let me just make it rounded. Some people like rounded buttons. Yeah, so let's make it rounded. Now I've created my first button, and renaming is very important. So I'm going to rename this button. Great. Now that I've created a button, this is good for a button. I can even decide to, I think I need to check the smoothing. I think I need to smoothen the edges pretty well. Yep. Now I've created a button. This button, good to go here, but not there yet because there is no micro interaction on the button. So even if I am moving around the button, I wouldn't know, what is going on. I want to try to do something out of, what we are used to when we are creating a button and the hover kind of interaction on a button. So now let's turn this into a component here. I know that we all know it now. So I'll just go to create component and then click on component. Now, for example, if I duplicate this, you see what I've just done? Let's go back, Control D. Somebody asked the question that why not I just duplicate the button. Now I did that here by clicking on Control D, but watch this. Come to my layer panel. By now you should know where your layer panel is. This is my layer panel on the left hand side here. Now this is my button that I've created, the real component. But the moment I duplicated, it was the instance, something like what I'm working on, something like this toggle was what came out, which is not supposed to be. If I work on this particular one, I'm just working. Like there's really nothing I can do with this. That's when people fall into issues that I created the component, I tried to do the other one, but it didn't work the way I wanted it to work. So try not to do this when you are creating the button at the first instance. Create the variant first, then from this variant you can now duplicate, duplicate, duplicate. Now look at this. I've created like a variant here, and this is my hover. So on hover, what should happen? I want to just do something a bit different from what we know. I know we've seen this in some designs before, and that is the stroke effect. Now, I want to create a stroke, but not this type of stroke that we are seeing, a more aesthetically pleasing stroke. Something like me customizing my stroke here. I don't want anyone at the top, and I don't want anyone at the right. So let's make these two different. But for the one at the bottom, I want it to be 2, yes. And the one at the right, I think let's make it 2 as well. So that it just has this form of 3D pop-up here. But of course, I don't want this color. And this color will not work for us. I want to have I changed a different thing. I want to have a different shade of this teal color, yeah? I want to have a darker shade of the teal color. Not too dark, but something that should make us, just know that, oh, something is happening right here. So let me make it bold so that we can all see what I'm doing. And in fact, I think I should push this to the right, to the left. I'm sorry, I told you I have a problem with, I have issues with, is a big one with my left and right. So let's even close it so that we can see what I'm doing. Now you see I've added my stroke to the bottom and then to the right. So I added one to the right and then I added 2 to the bottom to just give it this thing like it's coming up. You understand? Like it's popping up to just give it that pop-up feel. And then I can close this and say I want this on over. So let's say that we press the button here. So I can decide that let's create another variant. Just click on this plus now, and then you have another variant. So I'm creating another variant. Like when I click on it, something should happen when I click. Now, when I click on it, what should it turn to? So let's add, now let me see if I can, let's make it wilder. Let's see if we can add maybe this time around, let's see if we can add a okay, let's see if we can add a blurry effect. So let's go to effects and then yeah, something of this nature. like a shadow coming in. But this time around, let's give that shadow a different color. Also our color, but a lighter shade. Yeah, sorry, let me bring this to our gaze, but like a lighter shade of that color, and of course not the 100%. So let's look at let's make it a 24%. Great. Two, and then let's increase the blur so that we have it all over the. Yes, yes, this is perfect. Let's make it three. Let's make it four. So that we have it like a glow just coming out of our design. Yeah, this is good. And then we have this. So when you click, or maybe it's even going to be the other way around. Maybe this should be on hover and then this should be on click. So let me see if I can change this. I want to put this in auto layout so that I can easily move the last one to the middle. So I've kept it in auto layout. Now I can do my movements without having to move and change things sporadically. Now I've changed this. So this is my default button. This is my button when I hover, and then this is my button when I click. So I'm going to change the name, of course. Now this is clicked. Now this is hover, and now we can do our magic. So you rush to components now, and then click the first one. Say, when I hover, let this show, and then when I click on this, let this show. Perfect. In fact, let's even do something like, when I click back on this, let us be able to go back to the first instance. Now that we've created this, I'll just take it out of here so that we can bring the instance here. So paste it here, and then of course let's see what we have designed so far. Let's check our design. Oops, now we see this. Can you see the shadow thing just coming out, even though it is subtle? In fact, for people that may not be able to see it, let me increase the shadow that we've given it, that drop shadow. Let me increase let me make the color a bit obvious. Okay, so let's do this. So you can see now that the color is there. There's this shadow coming in, although it's not too obvious, but there is a shadow just coming in. And then when you click, you see that there's another change as well. There's another change there. Okay, let's try something. Let me play this. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, sorry. Let's go to, okay, this is where I am. Okay, so let's play this instead. Okay, let's click on play so that we'll have the whole screen to see what I'm trying to show us. Yes, someone just asked. Someone says that, can we change the color of the variants? Yes, you can change the color of the variants. So let's try something. So let's say, okay, perfect. Now you see that when I hover, there's that shadow thing. Yes, I can see it better now. There's a shadow coming in at the back. And then when I click on it, you see the black. You see the black. All right, great. Now let me even see if I can make it like bigger so that we would, see the button very, 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 very well, very well, very well. Don't try this at home. Oh. Do not try this at home. All right, just so you can see what I'm showing you pretty well. All right, oopsie daisy. I think I have to, oh, so that's why I said don't try it at home. We still have it looking, we still have that, just Control Z, Control Z, Control Z, so that we don't decide to rework things and then it will not work. So someone asked another question. The person said, can we change like the color? Yes, you can change the color. Now, let's say that we want to change the color to a different like color. Make this color darker. you can change the color. Maybe you want to make this darker, and then maybe you even want to change the color of the text. Since that is dark, let's make the color bright. That's the text here. Let's make it a brighter shade. So let's say we are giving it this white color, and then maybe when we have clicked, we want this to come out, but even a different color, like a totally different color, maybe this pink color. Oops, that's too pink. Let's do this purple color. Let's now change the stroke as well to a purple stroke, but this time around, let's give it a different shade. Yeah. All right, great. And then from there, let's change the text as well to, let's just write F1, 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 enter. Great. So with this, let me bring this in now. Okay, great. And then let's try it in this point. Now you see that if I hover on it, yeah, this is now obvious. So you see that when I hover on it, the button color is changing to white, the hover color is changing to dark, and then when I click on it, it has even become purple. It has become purple. So that's that on buttons. Let me see if we have questions. Do we have questions? Let me just see if we have questions. Okay, I see that I've answered some of our questions. Okay, that's good. Okay, amazing, amazing, amazing. All right, now let's try something with creating links. But before then, please give me 2 minutes. That 2 minutes, you can also use it to fill your attendance, to just write your attendance, and I will be back. Just 2 minutes, please. Thank you. All right. Thank you very much for the patience. So I'm hoping that we've been able to maybe try one or two things. If you want to see the process again, please rewatch the video so that we can do some more things. Yeah. I believe that this with what I've done, if you rewatch it again, you can, make some practice. Now let's try. I know we've seen this our links, our top navigation, whereby when you hover on a particular link, there is maybe a bit of some animation, and then from that animation, you are now able to um, you are now able to click on that, and then you go to another link. So we are trying to do maybe the nav bar, or maybe some icon. For example, this is Figma. Now you see that the moment I hover on this frame panel, or this frame icon, you see that there is this reaction that the frame is giving. There is the reaction that this frame is giving. Now let's try that reaction first. Let's try that reaction. Now, we will just bring in an icon. Since I don't have an icon pack here, I can go to my plugins and get Iconify. Yeah, just look for Iconify. Whatever plugin works for you to get your icons, that's fine. And if you always copy your icon from somewhere and then paste it in the design, well, that's also good as well. So let's pick a random icon. Let's look for home. I think home is the simplest icon that we can pick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look for two types of home: the filled type of home and then the lined type of home. And I want them to look very much alike. So I'll bring this in as a component. Yes, this is already in as a component. Thank you. But I see that that's a lined home. And then I think I would also bring in, which one did I bring in? Okay. So I would also bring in this field one as a component. And there I have the two. So I have the lined icon, the lined home icon, and I have the filled home icon. Now I can do whatever I want to do with the two. I discovered that both of them have like different. Let me see if both of them have. Yeah, both of them have different sizing. So what I will first do is to adjust the sizes, but that's not working. So let me remove this and get a better one that would go with the size. So that's Fluent. Let me see this. I wonder why I cannot see the name. Hmm. Let's hope that this would work. Import as an icon. Perfect. So this is coming in as a 20 by 20. Okay, let's see. If that's coming in as 20 by 20, let's bring this in and see if it would come in as 20 by 20 as well. I see this is coming in as 24 by 24. Hold on, let's see if the prior one would come in as 20 by 20. All right, perfect then. Perfect for me. So I'll just delete Fluent and I'll close this. So now that I have these two, I can copy this, which is the lined icon, paste it here, and then I can start my design. What do I want to do? Maybe I would write a home first, just underneath this. Don't worry about this big hole. I can, of course, adjust it, make it 12, or even make it 10. And then I'll reduce the line height to maybe a 16. This is me manually imputing my line height, nothing serious, just imputing my line height here. And after that, I can even decide to maybe change the color, yeah? So let's say we want to make this color feel like it's not active at the moment. So you could just go with a gray color, yeah? And Right now I see that it is in the medium. I can make it regular so that it's not looking so serious. So this is home, this is the icon, and then we can pull the two. Of course, I'm going to change the color of the icon as well. So now we can pull the two. Let me see if I can make both of them carry the same color shade. All right, great. Now we can pull the two and then make them, one. From there, I can give this 4 pixels for spacing. Then for the padding, I can give this a 4 pixels padding for vertical and maybe 8 pixels. Oh, don't worry about that. Somebody will say my work has spoiled, but don't worry. I'll just make this auto width and then we are fine. Okay, now that I've done that, I can also say come here and then hug content. Perfect. So we are good to go now. Now, from what we have here, we have just this. And the good thing is, if you duplicate and start checking it out, it may just look good, but it's not it yet. So the next thing you want to do is you want to do what? Give it a name. So you want to say this particular name. We are calling this our bottom nav bottom navigation. For maybe for all of those our phones that have like bottom navigation and the likes. So let's create a component from this, but we are not there yet, Abi. So create a variant of this and say that when I hover, maybe something should happen, and when I click, maybe something should happen, or when it is now active, maybe something should happen. So let's say I hover. When I hover, let's say this changes color to, let's pick our teal. So this changes color to teal when I hover. And then let's say when I click here, this now becomes, of course, I would copy this and then I would paste. And I wouldn't even be able to paste to replace. So what I will just do is I'll come to my assets. I will find it in my assets. This is it in my assets. And then I will just, of course, change it, but I won't change it from there. I'm going to change it from here. So I will come up here and then I'll pick this second home, and of course it just enters, changes with the color. And I'm also going to change this, the name of the color of the name as well, to that teal. I can do that, or I can do a different thing. I can decide that the old field would be purple, the old field would be maybe teal, and then the house, let's try that. Let's create a different one. So let's say that this and this would be white. So of course I'll just give it a, don't worry, let's do this one after the other. Let's say we give this a white color and then we give this a bright color as well. Yes, and then we now give the fill a purple, no, teal color. So you can also have this. And you can decide that you want to give it a corner radius if you believe that corner radius would go well for this kind of design. So you can decide that, oh, I want to give it this very nice corner radius. Perfect. Now you can decide whatever works for you. So let's say this is home. You go to your prototype and then you say from home, when I hover, it should be this. While hovering, give me this. When I click, it should be this. So let's try this first. So when I click, it should be this. Now, controls, of course, you should know me. I'll take this out so that it doesn't disturb my work. And then paste it here now. And I'll try to do what we've just done. So if we go to our design now, just reset or reload it. It's already loading. Now, if you see this, by the time I'm hovering, that's just a micro interaction. And then by the time I click, you see what has just happened. The home has just appeared. Let's try to check it from the main here. So you see that when I hover, this is what I get, and then when I click, you see that this is what I get. But what if that's not what we want here? So what if we want to maybe change the prototype? So we don't want this, this particular design. We want the other one. Just pick the arrow from the place where it is and then bring it to the second one. Yeah, and then leave it like that. Come back to your design, reload it, and then start again on hover, and then by the time you click, that shows. So those are just micro interactions. Those are minor interactions that you can have with your components. Minor interactions. If you want a line under your text, you can bring a line under your text, and so many other things that you can just do with your components. But for today, we are dealing micro interactions. And some of us would have been thinking, oh, we have a splash screen that we want to build. How do we build a splash screen? How do we build? How do we create a design that, when people see, they will just be wowed with that design? And creating some little bit of micro interactions is not really hard. It's just you thinking out of the box and making sure that your thoughts just comes to materialization, thinking out of the box, but also making sure that whatever you are thinking out of the box for makes a lot of, realistic sense, makes a lot of realistic sense. So let's try to look at, maybe, I don't know, let's try to do something. Let's try to just get a splash screen done with micro interaction. Now let's pick our iPhone 13 mini. Okay, great. Let's use this for our splash screen. I've written splash screen here. So let's say we are designing for a fashion company. I don't know. I don't know. Let's just use a text for their name, and let's call them Festa. So that's Fashion Esther. That's the, let's say, Festa. Or let's say Festa. Yeah, Festa. And then let's give them, yeah, let's use this. Let's just do something like something different, of course. Then let's increase their, oops, sorry, Control Z. Let me just write auto here so that we don't keep stressing on that. Now let's increase their size. I'm going back to Festa, don't worry. Let's use 64 and let's use Festa. Yeah, this guy. Okay. Now we have this as our fashion, design thing. Now let's give them the background. Let's give them like a, let's give them like 3 colors of backgrounds to work together, yeah? So let's say that we want the first background to be, let's say we want the first background to be purple, and this would be white. Then duplicate. Let's say we want the second one, the second color, to just go a bit from purple to this color, and then the third, sorry, and then the third color to go to like pink, to go to pink. So, but not only that, let's say that we want this. Let's say we want this guy to not be in here for the meantime while this, this is happening. So let me see if I can still find him and just stick him up. Now, great. Now for the second, okay, permit me, I'm going to shift these screens. Now, Control D, where is my text? I'll go to my splash screen, click on it, pick my text, and then bring him to the top. Perfect. So the guy is here now. Yes, and then for splash 3 is at the middle, And then with splash, with screen 4, I just want to do like some bit of interaction or some bit of movement for us. Control duplicate. Now this guy is down here, and then for the final one, before our major design, he's now going out. Or let's even say, yes, let's say he's almost out. And then for the last one, he has gone out. So let's take him out. Yeah. Let's even bring him like to the left. All right, from this point now, we can try to create our animation. You discover that what I've just done is a very, very short, we're not doing something much, just something small, a little bit of animation. And this one, we're not turning it into components, we're just using the screens that we have designed. Now, come to prototype. In prototype, the first one moves. You are not clicking, but you are saying after delay, maybe at 800 milliseconds. But let's make that 100 milliseconds, and let's say 800 milliseconds to ease out. Smart animates, of course. Now, come to the next one again. After delay, let's say 50 milliseconds this time around, or even 1 millisecond this time around. 800, smart animate, ease out, perfect. Then the third one, do the same thing. After delay, let's say 1 millisecond. Let's say 800, ease out, perfect. Now let's go to the next again. So you see right now I'm just enjoying myself, and I told you that I love this in design because at this point you cannot really wait. I cannot wait to see if I've made a mistake, or if there's something I need to change, or maybe if one of my prototype has broken, or maybe I put on click on one whereas I was supposed to put after delay on one. I just have like lots of things in my head. What's going on here? And then I'm taking this back so that we can start the process and the journey again. No, not on click, but after delay. Not this, but yes. So let's try to see what we have done. Oh God, I beg. All right, all right, all right. And then we have that movement. That movement is going. That movement is going. Although it's not smooth, yeah. It's not smooth because there were some back and forth from the ideation stage. That's why it's not smooth. And of course, I was just manually taking it. If I had wanted to take my time, I would have tried to make it like more, instead of, I see something, let's see that again. So I see instead of it going down, it probably would, I think this is where we are having that issue. So it's supposed to go this way instead. Exactly, exactly. And then this is supposed to go this way as well, so that it does not look like, so that it's just flowing, you get. So I mean, if you just draw that line, in fact you can even do yours to just be going, spiral and the likes. And this is just a minor or a micro interaction in design. So let me see if we have any question of some sort. Okay, I see that we don't have a question. All right. Okay. 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 So let's see. Let's try out. There was something I saw that I was hoping that we probably would try today in micro interactions. This is not smooth. This is not smooth at all. This is not smooth at all. If I were to have more time, I would go structuring it pretty well. Now let's try to do maybe a different thing. With micro interactions, you can do anything. Like you can do anything. Let's say we bring in a different frame. Let's say we bring in yeah, you can close now. Let's say we bring in an iPhone 13, 14, okay, still in prototype. Now let's say we want to, we have this as the icon or the image of the individual, and then we probably have, let's get a rectangle. Let's centralize this. It's always good that your works are centralized. So this is me just creating a low fidelity because I cannot ideate and start thinking of the text. And then let's say we have like this, there's a box here, a bigger box, a bigger, let's do two boxes just up here. Okay, duplicate this to the side. Okay, let's make sure that they are equal, yeah? So just duplicate and then bring this to this side and make sure this stays here. All right, then let's duplicate this and then drag. And finally, let's see if we can duplicate these three and then bring it here. Now, I know that we would have seen some kind of designs that just come like step by step, you understand? They disappear and then, they just reappear again. So for such, if you have to design something like that, I can go this route. Or if I want to maybe do something like my design is going to come from like different angles when, oh sorry, when like they are being, when somebody is trying to verify or check them out, so I can decide what angle both of them or the individual design would be coming from. Yeah. Okay, this is me just trying, this is this is how I work my designs out. You wouldn't even imagine it. This is me just trying to make sure that at the end of the day we have something nice. Now I'm going to duplicate this screen, and then on this particular screen, everything that has flown out, let's start from that ellipse here. I'm going to bring it back. So come down to the top. All right. And then I would see how we can bring it in a very, yes, 64 is good. I think we can take it back up a bit. Now, where are the two rectangles? Oh, sorry. So let's bring this guy in first. Okay, so let's even say centralize. This guy also, let's centralize him. Oops, Control Z. Where is this supposed to be? Okay. So let's say, perfect. So let's centralize, Okay, nice. We've done this, we've done this. We are okay. This is the next one, probably. Then let's also bring him to the center. Then let's pick this. Let's bring him up to the bottom. And then you can now raise him up, but not quite. Let's pick this design and then centralize it. All right. I don't know where this guy is coming from. Where is the other one? Okay, so there's still one there. So let's bring this guy here, and then let's pick the last one. And of course, yep, and perfect. I think there's still one, yeah? Yes, this one. And then let's bring him to the center. Now that I've done this, I hope there's no one here. Let's try to look for it. So we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, we've done this, 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 and this. Okay, then. So that means this guy can still like rise up. All right, great. Now, with all what I've done, this is our first and this is our second screen. So I can go to prototype and then I can move it to the side. Yeah. So not on click, let's just say after delay, yeah, after delay, let's just say maybe 300 milliseconds, and let's make it a 2000, milliseconds flow. Smart animate is in and out, and then let's see what happens. Yeah, so if I play this out, you see how that animation thing just happened. Let's try it again. Let's do it again. Okay, let's try it again, and then you see how it came in. So that's how to just do some little bit of, micro interactions. Even if you have to scroll, as you scroll, you can just see those interactions coming in into your design. I hope that yes, someone said, is this a low fidelity? Yes, this is low fidelity, and I hope it's not my network that is breaking this time around. Yeah, I believe it's not my network. This is a low fidelity design, but that's just to show you how different things can actually work well in design. So we have come to the end of this class. Thank you for having me. What you can do is you can always go back to the videos, and then you can watch those videos. You can watch them, and you can see how you can work things out. Our time is fast spent. Thank you for having me, and have a lovely day. Bye.